Okay, great. Thank you very much. Thanks everybody for joining us today. I'm going to present Cybercrime post-leadership model paper. My name is Dr. Simon Cleveland, and this presentation is based on a paper which was presented at the 13th Midwest Association for Information Systems Conference this year. I'm going to proceed in talking a little bit about the problem itself. I'll do an overview, an introduction about some of the cyber crimes that we've encountered in recent history, and then I'll talk a little bit about the research question for this presentation. I'll make an overview of the cyber breaches that and how leadership has actually addressed these cyber breaches as an example to illustrate why the proposed four-stage cybercrime leadership model emerged as part of this study. And then I will conclude by providing the model, and I will go through each of the four stages with some relevant examples. So let's go ahead and start. So let's talk about the introduction. Cybercrimes, cybersecurity, and cyber forensics address the awareness and risks for organizations in today's modern digital landscape. Organizations do not plan to fail, but as businesses utilize technology to compete in the marketplace, corporate hacks and data breaches can occur, and they occur consistently. So plenty of research has been done so far regarding how to prevent cyber crimes, how to increase cybersecurity, and how to analyze the cyber forensics component in the aftermath. But there is a gap in the literature presently to address organizational digital crimes and how the leadership minimizes risks for the consumer and the organization. Cybersecurity is no longer solely an issue for the IT department. And so leaders need to be prepared with procedures for combating the ever-evolving risks. So what is the research question for this study? Emergency plans, whether they're natural disasters or cybercrimes, should be regularly updated. As a result, this paper aims to address the question, what steps should leaders take in the aftermath of cybercrimes? And to address this question, a four-stage leadership model consisting of best practices is proposed to guide leaders in preparing, responding, and recovering from a cyber attack or a breach. So let's talk a little bit about cyber breaches. In today's digital landscape, organizations are vulnerable to crimes. For example, in 2013, the Target stores data breach affected 70 million people, while in 2015, the Anthem health insurance hack affected 80 million people worldwide. With the Equifax breach in 2017, there were 143 million people that were affected. And with the Yahoo's cybercrime breach, that resulted in about 1 billion people who lost their privacy of their accounts. And so this data indicates that no single industry is the primary target. However, common denominators in every company include a leadership team and digital presence. Furthermore, it's unlikely and nearly impossible for companies to remove themselves from the internet. And yet, despite all the preparations, cybercrimes still remain a major concern for every industry. So what are some of the challenges of managing cybercrimes? Computer-related crimes have three distinct categories: input tampering, throughput tampering, and output tampering. While input scams are the most common computer-related crimes, it's often the easiest kind to prevent by utilizing effective supervision and controls. The throughput crimes are rarer due to the programming knowledge required, but output crimes are increasing, and these involve theft of computer-related reports and information files. Staff constraints and lack of training for digital crimes suggest that law enforcement investigation resources will be thin. As a result, company leaders need to recognize the challenges and limitations placed upon law enforcement. The literature is clear that most law enforcement officers choose their profession for traditional law enforcement, as opposed to dealing with cybercrimes, thus leaving the FBI as the sole federal agency to handle cybercrimes. So having examined the challenges, let's talk a little bit about the cybersecurity risks. With the rapid pace of technology changing the way consumers behave, corporate executives are charged with the responsibility of producing more and staying ahead of the trends. Managing risks associated with cybercrimes requires a commitment from leadership to pursue ongoing training in order to acquire up-to-date knowledge and skills. Scammers and hackers continue to hone their craft and develop workarounds to complement the new technology. So leadership in organizations need to understand the complexities of cyber attacks and the resources it will take to prevent them, and adopt a prescriptive approach to cybersecurity risk management. And what about cyber forensics? Law enforcement and digital forensic teams need to work collaboratively to collect, preserve, examine, and transfer digital evidence in a timely and accurate manner. For example, some researchers have proposed crime scene procedure model in order to ensure a standardization among all professionals interacting with the investigation. Similarly, others have proposed an integrated computer forensics investigation process model to assist in the detection of computer crime investigations. Such models offer generalized guidelines that cyber forensic teams can leverage to address cyber crimes. Which leads me to the actual cybercrime leadership model. In this particular study, we argue that digital crimes are on the rise, and cyber attacks are a top economic crime. For example, in small businesses, a significant correlation between leadership styles and the level of concern toward information security problems exist. Ineffective leadership styles can lead to businesses needing to take reactive measures against cybercrime. As organizations become increasingly dependent on information systems, leaders in all industries must recognize the issue of cybersecurity. Organizations with strong leaders engage in more preventive efforts than organizations with weaker support from higher management. Once an organization is the victim of a cybercrime, best practices for leaders in the aftermath need to be developed and documented. As a result, we propose this 4-stage model consisting of a set of processes to guide leaders during the aftermath of cybercrime. So let's talk about the stage 1. Stage 1 is what we term recognizing vulnerabilities. Events of a crisis typically unfold quickly, by the minute rather than by the hour. After a cybercrime has occurred, leaders need to recognize and take ownership of the problem. Even as they rely on their teams, they should insert themselves into the process, intervening early and often. Researchers have demonstrated leadership failures in the national security complex and has argued that leadership is the root of the cybersecurity problem. Turning a blind eye or ignoring existing vulnerabilities will result in a greater impact of the cybercrime and more lasting effects. Stage number 2 is what we termed executing a crisis management plan. The crisis management plans have a viable timeline by delegating tasks and providing crucial information. Leadership in today's digital age, particularly effective cybersecurity leadership, is complex and involves a technical, legal, and ethical skill set. Leadership after a cyber attack should be prepared to immediately respond with a well-prepared crisis management plan. Leaders need to decide if operations can resume immediately or if there is a contingency plan in place. For example, studies have shown that crisis management plans should be developed by the company's leadership team along with asset managers, legal counsel, and insurance providers. Which leads us to the 3rd stage, and we've termed that one educating the community. After the Exxon Valdez oil spill in March of 1989, 11 million gallons of crude tanker oil were spilled into the Prince William Sound of Alaska. At that time, the mayor of Valdez led no major cleanup effort. And furthermore, the Exxon CEO failed to make a public statement until 2 weeks after the spill. In sharp contrast, during the BP oil spill in April of 2010, with the explosion of Deepwater Horizon, where 11 people were killed and 16 were injured, the estimated leak was 210 million gallons. And the CEO of BP released a video to the public apologizing for the spill, and BP's actions were almost immediate, providing updates on the cleanup, commitment to assist financially for the next 50 years to the community. So this is one way to showcase how cybersecurity leadership can react in certain situations under cybercrime. To help combat digital crimes, leaders should adopt similar approaches of resiliency. Leaders need to adopt an entrepreneurial approach to uniting communities through social capital and cybersecurity education. Their goal should be to commit relentlessly and honestly to the populace throughout the crisis. To accomplish this, they should leverage news conferences, giving up tips, and plans for up-to-the-minute progress reports to build trust in the leadership of their stand. Moreover, there should be a constant feedback mechanism to ensure that the information being disseminated to the community is absorbed and acted upon properly. And finally, the stage 4 is what we deem the conducting after-action reviews stage. In this particular stage, leaders should study the lessons learned from prior victims of cybercrimes, and such lessons can be leveraged as action plans and best practices. Leaders should adopt strategies based on the most proven approaches that have worked for our cybercrime victims in the past. These strategies can help organizations recover quicker and minimize the overall impact of the crimes. Furthermore, leaders should not overlook those who might not have a strong voice in their organization, and take care not to shut out others due to differences of views or opinions. Rather, leaders should utilize after-action reviews with their employees in order to brainstorm plausible actions to solve a cybercrime as soon as possible. These reviews should involve reviews of the cybercrime of the incident, an immediate institution of changes, and lessons on how to improve in the future. And so this kind of leads us to the conclusion of this particular study. Competent leadership is in a time of crisis is essential. So whether a natural disaster or a cyber attack occurs, citizens are affected and lives are changed. So this 4 leadership stage leadership model that we propose consists of best practices to assist leadership actions post-incident of cybercrimes. Future research will validate the model using a qualitative study of leaders before and after the occurrences of cybercrime. And this concludes the presentation.
Okay, we are good to go. Thank you so much.
Thank you, I appreciate it. I had to kind of speed up this thing because I have another meeting, but I hope this kind of took this time. Let me know if I can help with anything else.
Nope, that's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hope you have a great day.
Thank you, you too. Bye.
Bye-bye.